It is Wednesday, September 30th, 2020, and you are tuned into DIRTRACKR Daily. I'm Justin Fiedler. Today is apparently International Podcast Day, so thanks to all of you out there that tune into this show and my other show, DIRTRACKR Conversations. Hopefully they're a bright spot in your day. The dirt racing season continues to wind closer to a conclusion for 2020, and there is still a ton to decide, but I wanted to take a look back at just a few things I've really enjoyed about this season, and maybe ask you to share a few of yours. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, maybe share your highlights in the comments. If you listen to the podcast, maybe tweet at DIRTRACKR. As a whole, even with the incredibly difficult circumstances, my biggest highlight of 2020 has been just how hard the dirt racing community has worked to come together and provide opportunities for drivers to continue racing and fans to continue watching. Whether it was the early efforts by the McCarls at Park Jefferson, Knoxville and the Outlaws getting back going again, the Hoops Eldora had to jump through the folks at the streaming services for putting a lot of these deals together when fans weren't allowed a lot of these racetracks, and all of the other tracks and series that found a way to go racing again. Kudos to everyone for going the extra mile and making it happen. There's one thing that racing folks will always be: it's problem solvers. As for the actual racing, there have been so many fun storylines in 2020. You certainly can't not talk about the dominance of Kyle Larson. What he's done this season is nothing short of historical, and I hope folks are appreciating it for what it is. From sprint cars to the midget week to all of the things he's done this season. It's just been really, really incredible to watch. I think sprint car racing as a whole has been really good this year, between the series and local racing. Gravel winning the opener, once things kind of got rolling again back at Knoxville May, that race that Gravel won there was fun. The Outlaw points chase has been really great all year. Even as recently as watching Gravel and Larson battle it out for the governor's reign at Eldora, seeing Anthony Macri rise up in Pennsylvania and become a contender there. And there's so many other things that have happened. Sheldon Haudenschild, with what he's done with the Outlaws this year, the USAC stuff, we've got great points battles between the sprint cars and the midgets right now. The Silver Crown racing that we've gotten to see this year has been really fun. So just a lot of really great things with open wheel racing have happened this season. In terms of late model racing, I feel like it's been about the big three all season: Jimmy Owens, Brandon Sheppard, Brandon Overton. They've won a lot of races between the three of them, and between Owens and Sheppard, they're going to win the two national championships with the World of Outlaws and Lucas. And all of the races they've won, the big money shows that they've won, certainly been fun to watch those guys just kind of do what they do and be who they are. But there have definitely been plenty of other names that have jumped up this season and won races. Guys like we've talked about: Cade Dillard, Ashton Winger, what Kyle Strickler's done, Max Blair winning that big money race at Lernerville, Peyton Looney, plenty of guys, that have jumped up and have kind of started to make a name for themselves this season. And some guys that we're going to be talking about for years to come down the road. A lot of young guys. I think has been really fun to see those guys, develop and get better. And speaking of Strickler, I feel like we'll be talking about that heartbreak at Eldora kind of for a long time to come, and not only the heartbreak, but just how he handled it. The emotion, the kind of heart he showed through that whole thing, and for him to come back then a week later and grab that first Lucas win was big for him, and it's certainly something I think we're going to be talking about for a long time. And with Strickler, he's one of those guys I think with what we've seen this season is going to be a contender for many years to come. So just a lot of different guys to talk about there, and I certainly think in terms of the late model racing, we cannot forget what Kyle Larson did at Port Royal in the Lucas race. A lot of people, didn't expect him to be able to jump in and do what he did, but, to see what we saw out of him that weekend was certainly, again, something that's going to kind of go down in the lore of Kyle Larson and what he's been able to do across dirt racing. I think another big highlight for me is just how much great dirt racing content there's been this season, and as I feel like it's kind of slowly building, and between the streaming services and YouTube, all the various podcasts now, the news sites, social media stuff, there's so many ways, so many places you can go, to kind of build your fandom and keep up with what's going on, and whether it's sprint cars, late models, modifieds, midgets, whatever you're into, there's going to be something for you out there. You look at what Flow is doing, has done with, all of the different, streaming stuff that they do, the live stuff, but then also all of the little documentary pieces that they've made, and the YouTube channels with David Gravel vlogs and the Swindell Speed Lab videos, and guys like Ryan Missler and Tanner Holmes, that have done great work. There's so much right now out there to keep up with, and I think that's really great, especially when so many people have been stuck at home this year. For folks to be able to kind of have places they can go and still keep up with their with their dirt racing heroes and keep up with everything that's going on. I think that's been really really, really great. So as you're kind of going about your day to day, let me know what your highlights for 2020 are. Like I said, mention it in the comments, maybe shoot me a tweet. Is it a specific race? Is it, seeing a driver on the rise? Was there a wild finish you liked? Let me know. I would certainly like to hear from you. Over to a little bit of racing, a little bit of news. It's been a tough season in the Northeast with cancellations and postponements like we've talked about before, but we did get to see a champion crowned over the weekend. Short Track Super Series North Region Modifieds took on Penn Speedway on Saturday night for their 2020 finale, and Stuart Friesen's win over Andy Bicchetti earned him the series title in a very truncated season. Friesen took down $5,595 for the win and an additional $4,000 for the championship. The North Region season only ended up being 3 races, with Billy Pouch Jr. winning at Big Diamond and Friesen taking Fonda and Penn. Friesen also currently leads the South Region points, with Billy Pouch Jr. not far behind in second. Still to come for the Short Track Super Series is the Speed Showcase 200 weekend at Port Royal, October 15th through the 17th. The Modifieds will race for $53,000 to win on Saturday, so definitely big money on the line. They will then wrap up the year October 30th and 31st at Georgetown Speedway for the Mid-Atlantic Championship. For more information, you can find that at shorttracksuperseries.com. As for the DIRTcar Northeast Hoosier Tire Weekly Championship standing, Stuart Friesen currently leads the overall big block points by 26 over Matt Shepard. Several of the track championships have been decided, with Mike Mahaney taking Albany-Saratoga, Larry White winning at Land of Legends, and Andy Bicchetti taking Lebanon Valley. Lernerville and Orange County aren't finished racing yet, and Brewerton and Weedsport won't crown champions in 2020. If you'd like to see the full rundown for the big blocks, you can check that out at DIRTcar.com. Don't forget that the Oktoberfest week for the DIRTcar Northeast divisions starts next Tuesday, October 6th at Albany, Saratoga. We'll talk about that more next week. If you're in need of some other podcasts to check out this week, Wing Nation has Pete Walton, David Gravel, and Bill Baylog. Open Red has a great episode with Darren Pittman. The Dirt Nerds are talking about the best golfers in racing. TJ Slideways has Dustin Engel and Jay Steinbach. QuickTime has Shane Stewart and Brian Brown, and there's a new Wednesdays with Wayne. Over at SprintCarLimited.com, Jeremy has Donnie Schatz and Lance DeWeese. If you'd like to see that full list of shows and episodes along with links to watch, you can visit DIRTRACKR.com/podcasts. Again, today, the DIRTRACKR.com pay-per-view schedule is light, with only USAC 24/7 happening over at Flow Racing. Things will kind of kick off a little in more earnest tomorrow on Thursday. So if you'd like to see that full schedule, you can visit DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight. That's it for the show today. Hope everybody has a good Wednesday. You can find DIRTRACKR Daily on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or where you get podcasts. Please subscribe and leave a review. You can also watch the show every day on YouTube and Facebook. You can email the show at info@dirttracker.com, and you can follow along at facebook.com/dirttracker, twitter.com/dirttracker, and the website itself, dirttracker.com. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Justin_Fiedler. And don't forget to sign up for the DIRTRACKR weekly newsletter. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. We'll see you tomorrow for more DIRTRACKR Daily.